Good evening and welcome to this networking session of IBPC. I know it's a back-to-back meeting and we had a meeting yesterday morning with the minister and today we are having this network meeting. As you are aware that we have started the networking meeting which from last month or the last month, we want to do it as a bi-monthly sort of an event where we will afford the opportunity for members to interact and also share your experiences with each other. And I'm sure the President has some plans on how this network meeting will progress further in the months to come. We have a sort of a packed agenda today. There are a few official protocols to be done, and we will have to welcome the new members who have joined in the recent past, and also a keynote speaker who is going to share some thoughts with us. I would now request the President of IBPC, Mr. Nimesh Makwana, to come and give his welcome address.
Assalamu alaikum, namaskar and good evening to each one of you. It's lovely to see that house is almost full. As Vice President has mentioned, yesterday we had a great gathering and we had opportunity to host Honorable Minister Shri V. Muralidharan, Minister of State for External and Parliamentary Affairs, Government of India, within 2 weeks of the formation of new government. And Indian diaspora had a great opportunity for interactive session, and many concerns were raised to Honorable Minister, and he promised that he is going to take forward with the respective government to take it forward. We had close to yesterday 180 plus numbers despite Friday morning, and I can see many of the members were yesterday present, so thanks to everyone, and request each one of you to come and participate more and more. That will encourage us to do more and more event for the benefit of IBPC and IBPC members. As you know that this business networking meeting is going to be a bi-monthly, and we had a good response on first business networking meeting, and which was in April, and Mr. Pradeep Amladi, he had a magical show presentation. Event was with members and spouse, and it was very well received. Today we have with us Ms. Carrie Pips, and you all are eagerly waiting to hear her. So I'm sure that a lot of takeaway will be there from her talk. And I must thank here my friend Gautam from Right Selection, who is kind enough to help us in getting Carrie for IBPC member to address the gathering. As you know, this business networking meeting, the purpose is to exchange the card, exchange the views, and develop the networking strongly so that eventually it helps in the business also. So we are in process of designing the structure where with nominal cost, members will get a chance to present as well as display their products and services, so that not only meeting the members, but there will be opportunity that you can showcase that what you are doing, whether you are into business, trading, and if you are into service, then accordingly you talk about your services and display your brochure and all. Let me just quickly touch upon upcoming events. As you know that you might be knowing, Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, Sri Jairam Thakur, is visiting to Dubai with delegation from June 23rd to 26th. And it may interest you that the state government of Himachal Pradesh is hosting global investor meets on 7th and 8th November 2019 at Dharamshala, Himachal Pradesh. And the visit to UAE is an effort to reach out to the global investors and NRI community in the UAE. So, as IBPC, we are in touch with Consul General Sri Vipul, and most probably we are going to host the event on June 25th for IBPC members, where we will have the opportunity to interact with Chief Minister. So please block your diary, and by tomorrow we should come to know, and then we'll accordingly release the SMS and then circular subsequently. DP World, you all are aware, you all must have received by now the Block the Diary circular, and IBPC is hosting the event with DP World on June 30th, and one of our member, Mr. Ravin, who is here, we are in touch with him, and we are going to have this event where we are expecting a good trade-related discussion, and what DP World is doing over here, we all are aware, but they have done a lot in India as well. Now, last request before I end my speech. In last few meetings, I request each one of you to bring one member each month to IBPC. We are close to here around 80 to 100 members, and you all are enough capable to rather bring 100 members in a month, but my request is only to one member in a month. So I'm sure you can imagine, if you calculate over a period of next 21 months, where we will stand when we are ending our terms. So request each one of you to come forward, encourage all the business leaders who are not part of IBPC, professionals who are not part of IBPC, to ask them and join IBPCs and enhance our and strengthen our position over here. That's it. Now I'm sure you all must be looking forward for speaker presentation, and before that I'll just hand over to Krishnan Ramachandran, Vice President, for rest of the proceeding. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening.
One of the objectives of IBPC is to create select focus groups to work on various activities and to strengthen the businesses and professions in this region. And in this regard, I'm happy to state that that process is almost complete now, and Chairman Mr. Suresh Kumar will run through the whole process. May I now request Mr. Suresh Kumar to take over the proceedings.
I think before we begin, can we rise for a minute in the memory of our dear and distinguished doyens, both Mr. Bharat Shah and Mr. Murij Magnani. Thank you. Distinguished guests that we have, some of the doyens, and ladies and gentlemen, friends. I think it's going to be a hard act to precede Kerry Phipps, I hope. And she's even got a bell, so I'm going to put it right to the top. But let me, before we delve a little deeper into focus groups and special forums, just give a little context and a background. As you all know, we had a bit of an existential crisis, as I call it, at the beginning of last year, and then much happened for the better in terms of, we have now a very strong and eminent governance board. We have caught back and in fact exceeded the membership that was there in the beginning of last year. And more importantly, I think the quality of activities and the participation and the quality of membership has been transformed significantly, which I think is a good thing for all of us. It was in that context that we had a number of discussions at various boards with the patrons, with the Dubai Chamber of Commerce, and in terms of strategically, how do we want to position IBPC going forward? This was last year, and as you might have seen from the constitution itself, we clearly said that we will form focus groups and special forums to sort of expand and broaden the scope of activities. And Well, that was easier said than done because we had a moving membership over a period of time. We said, let's get some of the best brains, some of the distinguished leaders, some of the more dynamic, agile, younger persons who can sort of drive the agenda as conveners, coordinators, and the like. And so that's the context in which these focus groups were evolved. I wrote to you in April about the various focus groups, and now we are happy that we are at a stage where we can announce the steering committees of each of these focus groups. So we've got a number of distinguished IBPC members that have accepted to be part of the steering committee. I think they're some of the finest professionals and businessmen that we have, that we're proud to have as members. Those who have had considerable seniority and standing in the community have been recognized as mentors because we need them as mentors. More than them taking a huge amount of time commitment or giving a huge amount of time commitment, what we need from them are the ideas, the connect, the ability to represent. I remember at the last meeting that we had with the Dubai Chamber, Mr. Paras Shahdatpuri, our senior member, was very vocal and strong, and he was listened to with respect and attention simply because over a period of time he has built up that credibility and that ability to convey. So we need mentors and we need other steering committee members, as conveners, etc., who can. So it's a blend of, if you like, experience and dynamism, for want of a better term. So that's how the focus group conveners, the coordinators, the mentors were chosen. The second is that how did the focus groups themselves get formed? They were based on a detailed study of the Dubai Strategic Plan 2021, because ultimately we have to be aligned with Dubai's own strategy going forward. And we need to have those focus groups which will drive those initiatives in line with Dubai's own. And that is one of the advantages of IBPC in its new avatar or in the transformed state. We're able to escalate matters, raise in terms of policy advocacy, ability to change, influence policies, because we're being listened to now at various government forums. Even yesterday, I was with the Indian Consul General at the consulate, and a suggestion was made that we need IBPC to be the face because, frankly, he said they would rather not talk to the consulate because if they start talking to one consulate, they'll talk to 20 consulates. But they would want the business forums, the business councils to take up that initiative, which is good to hear. And the plan is also IBPC will commission detailed research reports, updates from time to time on each of these focus group sectors, the underlying business sectors, be it logistics, be it shipping, be it transportation, be it retail, real estate, and we have practically covered all the important sectors that are there in Dubai strategic plans and which are also, as you will see now, in line with national priorities in India. Because ultimately, we have the home country and we have the host country, and we need to be aligned to their own strategies and their own plans going forward. And those have been taken into consideration while naming, and we will have other focus groups as and when the need arises, or merge or consolidate a few. We were also constrained by the fact that we don't necessarily have the numbers in each of these focus groups, which is why some of them have been put together as clusters. For instance, banking, financial services, and insurance have been put in one cluster, or education and healthcare, although they are disparate and widely different from each other, have been put together simply because, rightly or wrongly, we don't have the numbers. We have, I think, over 180 educational institutions in the academic city, knowledge village, perhaps more. Dinesh ji will tell us, if I ask him. But we have less than 10% of those institutions as members of IBPC, and that doesn't make you sufficiently representative of that sector and the strength of the Indian community in that sector in the UAE, in Dubai. So those are, if you like, objectives going forward. The focus groups and the special forums will have considerable autonomy, not just autonomy, but also authority, both financial authority and in terms of authority to be able to construct the agenda, etc. It's not practically possible for a few of us to be able to drive things forward in each of them, which is why this is going to be a lot more broad-based, and I'll touch a little bit more on it going forward. So the roles of the various office bearers will also be reconsidered, revised, so that we have clarity, we have consistency, we don't have any issues as it arose in the past of overlap or turf issues, making sure, which is where the good governance principles come into the picture, which is why we have a strong and effective governance board. And we do have the authority within Article 15 of the Constitution to make such changes, and we will keep our regulator in the loop. And each of the focus groups, we will agree certain key performance indicators, KPIs, as many of you in the corporate world know. KPIs are very important. Your performance is evaluated, and on that basis, you progress or you stay or you recede. And one of the key considerations is to even further increase the membership, which is why I was happy that Nimish mentioned that let each one of you bring one more member. I would go to the extent of saying maybe 5 more members in a year, because it is possible. It is possible in the platform. Our costs of membership is one of the lowest for all business councils in the country. And yet, in terms of activities and number of events, and I'll come to, we don't want to call them too many events per se. In terms of activities, I think we are significantly ahead of many business councils last year and this year. So I think that's a good place to start. And the other obvious requirement is we want to, I was just talking to Paris. When he left a nice large corpus of funds in IBPC. We have grown that fund, and one of the KPIs agreed with Nimish and Krishnan is that we don't touch the corpus. We add to it rather than. So financial support, sponsorships, etc. And so even yesterday's event was sponsored. We've got to be business and professional, business-like and professional, as Ram would say. Right, Ram? So, and at the end of the day, the most important criteria, which is why I call it paramount, is enhancing the quality and range of activities. Each of these focus groups, you could have one IBPC for each one of them. It's actually several IBPCs within one, effectively. So the steering committees will encourage policy advocacy, and this is very important because this is what even our patron, the Indian Consul General, is expecting, the ambassador is expecting, that IBPC is the forum to deal with local authorities, with the UAE government authorities. And I think it's something that fits in very nicely and very well with IBPC's role going forward. And all of us are there to facilitate it. I think we can open doors, we can raise issues. And Dubai these days is the government of Dubai, and every department of government of Dubai is listening because they don't want Dubai to lose competitive advantage, which it has had. So they all would like and welcome good ideas, good way to make cost of living, quality of living, cost of doing business much, much better. And that's a message coming right from the top. So the plan is also take delegations to India, because ultimately we need to address that requirement as the nodal organization here for the Indian business and professional community. And likewise encourage in the reverse direction delegations from there, again specifically with regard to focus group areas, various sectors, and we'll just quickly go into those sectors. So there can be good exchange of information once there is research updates available in a fairly detailed manner, commissioned professionally. Then we will have the ability to also guide and encourage flows of trade, capital, investments in both directions for the benefit of both countries. So, in a nutshell, IBPC will transform into a matrix structure, a broad matrix structure, evolving healthily from a command and control, and this is quote unquote event management entity. Somebody senior, one of our patrons said IBPC was fast becoming event management, was well known for bringing Shah Rukh Khan on the stage, but you've not been able to bring the very top people on stage. That's not where we want to be. There are enough and more signature events and other companies that can do that better and more effectively. We don't want to spend members' money on entertaining ourselves. Not that we shouldn't entertain ourselves. Nothing wrong in relaxing, creating an IBPC day and the like. But that can't be the be-all and end-all of IBPC. So now, very quickly, we'll move to the actual steering committee members, and we'd like to bring them on stage and felicitate them. So first is accounting, audit, and advisory services in the alphabetical order, AAA as we call it. They're right at the top of rating. Mr. Mahindra Asher, I believe, is not here. He's not in town. He's traveling. But Mr. James Matthew, can you please come up to the stage? He has chosen the longest way of getting here. Good to see you. Good to see you. And thank you for joining the steering committee. Next, Mr. Naveen Sharma. Naveen was the pillar who created this focus group and made it into a worthwhile, strong, and I thank him for it. And then, of course, not the least, I don't know if Mr. Venkatesh is here. He is out of town. Okay. We'll move to the next. I think this is one of the challenges that many of them that I talked to among the focus group steering committee members requested that time commitment should be kept to a minimum, simply because all of us travel left, right, and center at short notice, and therefore, but you don't need a huge amount of time to tap people's brains, because we're going to be having many of these meetings electronically, avoiding physical meetings as much as possible with the technology help these days, ranging from video conferencing to webinars and the like. There is absolutely no reason why we should not use that technology efficiently and connect up. So banking, financial services, and insurance, Mr. Adib Ahmed is traveling. Mr. Vikas Sharma is here, I hope. No, he's traveling too. Mr. Shamsher Singh, please do come in. Shamsher is the regional head of the State Bank of India here. Thank you very much, sir, for giving a distinguished banker. Please. Thank you. Good to see you. I think Mr. Ranjit Sinha, please do come in, Mr. Ranjit. And Mr. Mustafa. He's a long-standing member and a distinguished insurance person. Good to see you. And of course, not the least, the dynamo behind BFSI Group, Mr. Vikram Venkatraman. You have seen him more on the stage than you have seen me, so good to see you. Thank you. Mr. Anil Bharadwaj is traveling. This is construction, real estate, and related services. We have bunched them up together. This is one of the larger groups of membership of IBPC. Monica Agarwal, Miss Monica Agarwal, there she is. Thank you. Please do come forward. Thank you. Appreciate you joining. Mr. Tariq Chawan, I don't see him. He said he had another engagement this evening. Mr. Rajan Israni, yes. He's truly a mentor. How many years in this sector? 37 years. Fine. Some of you were not born, I think. Were you born before that? Okay. Next, we have Mr. Shashi Kumar Gopinathan Nair. Shashi, as I call him. He and I go back 30 years, or 37 years. Good to see you, Shashi. Welcome, and thank you for being part of the steering committee. Appreciate it. The next is the most important sectors: education, healthcare, and social infrastructure. We can't do with it, we can't do without it. Mr. Dinesh Kothari. He's a distinguished Doyen himself. And again, we go back a long time. Dinesh, thank you for being part of the focus group. We should do some good work. Professor Christopher Abraham. Professor Christopher Abraham is the Senior Vice President. He's the CEO of Dubai campus of SP Jain Center of Management. When he speaks, I listen with rapt attention. Speaks very well. Professor, thank you for joining us, and I hope we didn't delay you. No worries. Thank you. Dr. Brijesh Mittal. I heard him at ICAI, and I keep touching my heart to make sure it is in the right place. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Sanjay Paitankar, I did not see. He's out of town. Okay. Next, we have another focus group. It's engineering, manufacturing, technology, and telecom. It covers the entire range of communication and technology. Mr. Dilip Kumar Sinha. He's quite a Dilip Kumar himself. He's been driving it as a dynamo, literally, yes. Thank you, Dilip.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate. We did an excellent event together.
Yes, sure.
And we hope we'll see more of those.
Definitely.
Thank you. Mr. Kamal Kant? Not yet in town. Miss Karuna Luther? Oh, there she is, coming from right at the back. Your morning constitutional has become evening constitutional. No, please, take your time. Karuna, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's an honor.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I hope we can say it with flowers. Thank you.
Very good.
Mr. Samir Makija, there he is. He's been one of the earliest conveners of this focus group, and or for that matter, any focus group. Thank you, Samir. Thank you. Mr. Sutarwala is out of town, he has regretted. Infrastructure, logistics, shipping, and transportation. Mr. Ramesh Ramkrishnan is the chairman of Transworld and a very distinguished person, not just in that sector, but across many sectors. He is out of town. In fact, he is in Europe. He is coming back on the 18th. Mr. Ved Chabra is also out of town, right? Mr. Raveen Gilani. We are fortunate that DP World is working with us, and Raveen has tremendous amount of business intelligence, which I would like to
say the least. You'll hear more on the 30th.
Yeah, I think we'll reserve that for the 30th. Thank you, Raveen. Appreciate it. And Dr. Satish Mopara. He always comes, sometimes not on time. Today he came very late. Huh? Satish, thank you, appreciate. Thank you. And he's a wealth of knowledge in this sector particularly, and we hope we'll get benefit of that. Thank you. Retail, SME, and enterprises. This is the strongest and the most powerful sector that we have. We have stalwarts here, Dr. Ram Bakshani, whom we felicitated as a distinguished doyen, so he needs no introduction to this audience or to any audience. Yeah. There is not a single day of college times that I remember which doesn't have his picture or his name. Good to see you. I made it. Mr. Paras Shehzadpuri, as I said earlier, IBPC needs Paras. Paras doesn't need IBPC.
No wonder we couldn't get the bouquets in the market.
I think flowers were going out of fashion. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Tony Jashanmal is traveling. He is in Kuwait, I think. Mr. Badruddin Panakat. Oh, yes, yes. Thank you, Badruddin. Badruddin works quietly, but most effectively. I've seen him in action. Mr. Saifuddin Rupawala, the CEO of Lulu, is also traveling, but he has consented to be part of the steering committee and contribute. And he brings a wealth of knowledge and experience in this sector, retail sector. We also formed the Community Social Responsibility Forum. As many of you would know, last year we did an engagement or an event with the Al Jalila Foundation, Sheikh Mohammed's daughter, Al Jalila. The foundation was set up some years back, and it's one of the more active, vibrant, social contribution organization in town. This year we did with Al Noor institution, which I'm sure many of you attended, and it was very successful. They appreciated. We made a contribution of 100,000 dirhams, which is a start, and that came from IBPC's coffers that Paras had built up so well. And so we've got two persons there for the moment, but any more that would want to be part of this steering committee or group are most welcome to contact us. In fact, some of the board members of IBPC have shown interest specifically to be associated with this, and which means not just their connectivity and strength, but also contributions. So, we hope to continue this exercise. The plan is to choose one, deserving organization from India and one from the UAE each year going forward. I think we have the pencil man, as I call it, Mr. Venkat Krishnamurthy. He deserves a round of applause. He has done some very good work, quietly, effectively. Thank you. And IBPC NRI Affairs, in fact, is an idea that came from the late Bharat Bhai Shah. And he very much wanted to be part of it. He accepted, but as luck would have it, man proposes, God disposes, as they say. He is no more. But I think in his memory, but even more to sort of fulfill the kind of drive and, no holds barred approach that he had, we have got a very strong steering committee here. May I invite Mr. Raju Menon as the mentor of this committee? Raju and I go back a long time, and he's got a strong presence both in India and here. and excellent, very effective. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Bajpai. Dr. Bajpai was my vice president in the very first IBPC board. He has been a pillar of support. And his was the first name that Bharat Bhai Shah proposed. Thank you. Yeah, he was the heart and soul of this focus group. Thank you. Mr. G.R. Mehta, also vice president in the past and a very distinguished member of the accounting profession. On the corporate side, if I understand it correctly. Thank you for joining us and thank you for joining this committee. Yes, yes. Thank you. And last but not the least, Mr. K.V. Shamsuddin. He is, I think, maybe 10% less than Ram Bakshani in terms of visibility and work. Thank you, really appreciate it. Thank you. IBPC Travel, Tourism and Hospitality Forum, I think, is an important one. I think a few people are traveling, as would befit the title of the focus group. Mr. Sanjeev Agarwala, is he here? Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'm glad that he is able to join us today. Sanjeev, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. He's a veteran in this field. Thank you for joining us and the committee. Mr. Puneet Baijal, not in town. Mr. Mani Chako Malaikal. Thank you, Mr. Mani. We spoke, and I'm glad you accepted. Thank you. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Mr. Mani is the chairman of Savoy Group of Hotels, and Mr. Mohammed Rafi. He again works quietly, but I think he's very well connected. I appreciate, and he's taken the lead in this focus group. Huh? Does he sing? Maybe we need to have one event. Maybe on board the new cruise ship which has come there. There's an Indian cruise ship in the ports of Dubai. And then, all of us will sing. Even I'll sing. Paras, for you. And then Mr. Varadaraj Manjappa Shetty. Not in town, okay. Yeah, Raj Shetty, is it? Okay. IBPC Women's Forum. I don't see very many women here, but Sandy Saxena is not in town. Not in town. Miss Bindu Chetur, please come in. Former president and senior lawyer as well. Thank you, Bindu. Namaste. Appreciate. Ms. Shweta Kajaria, not in town. Ms. Karuna Luther, I hope you don't have to walk all the way back. Okay. We want to make sure that gender diversity is properly addressed, Kerry. Strangers or no strangers.
Thank you.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that does the focus groups. I've taken more than the 20 minutes that Nimesh gave me. But someone needs to felicitate me. I think I'm enough in terms of felicitation. I will come and get felicitated next week.
Well, let's have a round of applause for all the mentors, steering committee members, and focus groups. We look forward to working with all of you. Thank you very much. Yes, sir, we will. Well, after the felicitation of the focus groups and the introduction of all the members, it's now time for us to move into the next agenda, which is the keynote address that we have all also been waiting for. Yeah. I have great pleasure in introducing the speaker of the day, Kerry Phipps. Kerry is widely known as an engaging international speaker and author who inspires leaders and entrepreneurs to connect with confidence. As a speaker, author, and leadership coach, Kerry's message goes beyond cultural borders, tapping into yearning that ties within each of us, the desire to connect with those around us. Best known for a book, Do Talk to Strangers, How to Connect with Anyone, Anywhere, Kerry is an expert at equipping audience with thought-provoking and practical tools to develop the confidence they need in order to expand their network and create more opportunities. At the heart of every presentation is Kerry's driving message of living purposefully and communicating at your very best, enabling you to connect with others in a meaningful way. Kerry will reveal today how to create new connections, deepening learning, and creating new opportunities for growth. The topic for today was particularly interesting for us because it is do talk to strangers, connect with confidence. You know, when we chose this topic, I always went back to my childhood when as children we are always told, don't talk to strangers. So I think that phase needs to rephrase ourselves that as we grow, it's important that we talk to strangers. So why do we do it? I'm also eagerly waiting to listen to you, Kerry. Please join us on stage and talk to our members. Thank you.
Have you considered how all the people in your world came to be there? Your friends, your business partners. Who's met a great customer or business partner on a plane? There's a few hands, great. Maybe in an airport lounge? Yes. On a train? Maybe even in a supermarket or a lift. People often say to me, nobody talks to strangers in my city. Do they say that here? It doesn't really matter where I go in the world. People will say, well, where I grew up, we were taught don't talk to strangers. So who was taught that? Okay, and I get this everywhere and I say, yes, I've heard that in a lot of countries. Oh, but in our country, we are taught don't talk to strangers. So we all have this thinking that kind of traps us until we have those moments that many of you have had on a train, on a plane, in an airport, and you connect with somebody and you think, wow, just because I made eye contact, there was a smile. Maybe you asked a simple question. So we're going to look at questions tonight. We're going to raise awareness of what happens when we connect confidently. And how important is this? So here is my book, Do Talk to Strangers, and the recent edition, the Travel Toolkit, because I want to encourage people. Do talk to strangers and do travel, because both of those things expands our world, doesn't it? So we'll look at the asking model, but first of all, I have a question for the cricket fans in the room. Do we have a few? Okay, so, and are we going to have some fun tonight? Yes? So I have a prize for the first person who can tell me who my friend is here. Oh, where is he? There he is. Oh, you're all very quick, but I think it was right down the back. Would you like to run up here and receive a gift? Yes, you right down there at the back. So, the behind the scenes of this story, I was with my mother and we're on a plane. There we go, this is the Do Talk to Strangers Travel Toolkit. Enjoy, I'll sign up for you later. So, I'm on a plane with Glenn McGrath And I come down the steps and I said, "Hi, how are you going?" And we had a little chat. And my mother came down the steps and said, "Oh, you're a cricketer. Shane Warne." Of course, no cricket fan is going to say that, but he was very forgiving. So this is where I live in Glen McGrath territory, out in the country, Dubbo, New South Wales, Dubbo and Narromine claim him, and also the Taronga Western Plains Zoo. Has anybody been there? Yes, fantastic. Okay, there's a book for you too, sir. So for the rest of you, welcome to Dubbo. Okay, this is out in the country. Did you enjoy Dubbo? Absolutely. This sign, this photograph I took on the way to my parents' farm. And it could have McDonald's advertising. I think it does on the other side. But somebody put this message up there. And I thought, this is what we're all about. Who's taking care of customers in their business? Who's taking care of your staff? And taking care of your families? And I am amazed to see the collective intelligence in this room, to have a little insight into it. Just seeing those presentations, I am in awe of the growth that you have been a part of, the development that you've done, that you've collaborated with others on, and the possibilities that you have ahead of you. Who's excited about your possibilities? Wow. Okay, there's one hand. Is anyone else excited about your possibilities? Yes, thank you. Okay, and just a little glimpse behind the scenes. There's my family, although my son's a little taller now. So I love having adventure. And tonight's a very special night because I'm going to share with you some things that I have not shared anywhere else in the world, because this is the first time I'm speaking after doing a tour of 8 different countries in the last 5 weeks, for the express purpose of talking to strangers, of connecting cross-culturally, of writing, and just being with people. Because we learn so much when we be with people, don't we? And we're often so busy that we are maybe in a room with people, we're on a plane with people, but how much do we connect and really learn from each other and really learn about ourselves? And this is a recent audience in India, and they changed the way I thought. I toured through South India and spoke to many audiences, and I was just amazed at the creativity, the passion, and they love, I'm always getting messages from people saying, yes, I was there, and now I'm talking to strangers. Now, I know many of you are already talking to so many people, and you say, yes, I'm good at talking to strangers. Who are those people? Yes, I talk to strangers everywhere. Okay, stick with me, because I know that we're going to take your insights deeper. You will see what you do that works well, and how much that matters. I want to talk for a moment about how cities connect. When you drive through Dubai or fly over, there are things that make connections with you. Maybe it's the architecture, and you think, that reminds me of my grandmother's house. Maybe it's a garden that reminds you of your school. Everything we are doing is making connections. So let's look at the asking model, and it's just a glimpse tonight, just to raise awareness of how we connect with people. So asking is about curiosity. It's about gaining permission to have a conversation with somebody. And that permission might be as simple as a glance, and then you know you can talk to someone. And we start small, as I've said, with eye contact, with a smile. And keep going with quality questions. So quality questions, we're going to discuss a little more, and you can ask each other some quality questions as we go through dinner tonight. But mostly we're going to talk about the brain. Because what we give attention to changes our brain. Our brain is literally being rewired by the conversations that we have, by the sights that we see, which is why I encourage people to travel also. So I'm going to ask you to just hold your hand up, tuck your thumb in, and then fold your fingers over the top. Okay, so this is Dr. Daniel Siegel's hand model of the brain. He's a neurobiologist. So if you just put it here, this is kind of what it looks like. It's about that size. Do you ever wonder what goes on in your brain when you're having a conversation? Or maybe you've said to other people, what were you thinking? What were you thinking when you had that conversation? Okay, you can put your hands down, but just have a look at it. And we're going to talk through different parts of the brain. So over the top here is our forehead. And behind our forehead is our prefrontal cortex. So this is where you are using this all day, every day. This is where you're doing your focused thinking, weighing up options, deciding. Down the back here, we have the brainstem where we're filing things away. You know when you meet somebody and you haven't seen them for so long and you literally feel like you've got to go back in the memory files to think of their name? Yes? So we're putting our memories back here. And in the middle, our thumb represents this. This is fascinating. This is the limbic system or the amygdala. It's the emotional center of the brain. And the interesting thing with this and this, our prefrontal cortex, they cannot be online at the same time. So when there's an emotional reaction to something, maybe somebody cuts you off in traffic, this fires up and you're not making the best decisions. Have you ever walked out of a meeting just worked up? You go and have a cup of tea and you think, I know what I should have said. Because you've calmed down, your prefrontal cortex is back online, you can make the decisions. But we're often not aware of the activity that's going on. So maybe you walk into a meeting or you walk into some really important event and you feel a little nervous. You feel apprehensive. You think, what will they think about my presentation? What will they think about my suit? Should I have worn the other suit? Do my papers look okay? And we have all of this worry. If we notice it, then we can let that go. But we often are just rush, 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 and our stress gets in the way of good connecting. And this is not just connecting with strangers, obviously. We're connecting with so many people as our days go on. But what are we giving our attention to? Is it to be calm and in the moment? Is it to really tune in and listen? And then what kind of questions do we ask when we're curious about the people we meet? So do you want to know what quality questions look like? It's just a question that might put a smile on someone's face. When somebody asks you about your favourite destination or the best thing about doing business in Dubai, the best thing about anything, favourite memory, thing you're looking forward to, they're easy questions to answer, aren't they? So we can put people at ease with a simple question. So I'm going to give you a moment just to turn to the person next to you and say, what's the best thing about being a member of this organisation? And then I'm going to ring the bell, because I know when you start talking, it will be hard to stop. So 30 seconds, turn to the person next to you. What's the best thing about this organisation? Okay, so did some of you share the same thing? Or did someone say something unique that surprised you? Yes? Fantastic. If they didn't, then maybe ask another question. Maybe say, tell me more about that. What is it about that that is important to you? Because that question, what is important to you, that says to the person you're talking to, your opinion matters. Your ideas are valuable. And so often, we just have this chit-chat that doesn't go very deep. And we can build deep connections just by asking people simple questions about what matters to them. So this was another moment of connecting in a city. I'm sure you recognise this city. Anyone? Yes, it's a city where I met Gotham, actually. So we're standing at the top of Marina Bay Sands, connecting with speakers from all across the globe, and I brought my assistant from Australia. And it was a completely new experience for her. Think about those completely new experiences that you've had and that you've given to others. Who have you taken somewhere new? Maybe you've taken someone overseas. Maybe you've just taken them into a new role and you're helping to develop them. So those quality questions can help to build that connection also. What are you loving about this? What do you think is important? This is one of my friends from Sydney, Shivi, who connected with me in one of my workshops, and he'd moved from India as a young person studying, and he found that after reading Do Talk to Strangers, that he could connect with anyone, anywhere, as the subtitle suggests. So he hired his business manager after meeting her on a train. He gave another young man a job after meeting him in a cafe. And he filled his school with students because he was connecting with people and they were connecting with people. So he's one of the first people who inspired me to go to India, who connected with me with so many new Indian friends, and I'm so grateful. And here is gratitude. How often do we think about gratitude? Now, I've just zipped through the first couple of parts of the asking model, but it finishes with gratitude because gratitude is a powerful connector. And this is something that we can practice, just saying thank you to the person who serves our coffee. Thank you to somebody who opens the door for us. And not just a simple thank you, but if we can make it a specific acknowledgement. Thank you for the way you make your coffee. It's so creative. I can taste the love in the coffee. This is something my husband says, because he really believes that you can taste the attitude of the barista in the coffee. Does anyone else think that? Yeah. If you're a coffee connoisseur, it's often the case. Now, I want to tell you a little story. Yes? Pardon? You might have had a problem. We need to exercise wisdom with all of our connections. And the other thing is empathy. And I think I've just got a few minutes remaining, but I want to share this illustration. And I also wanted to congratulate you for the Indian win in the cricket the last couple of days against Australia. And I'm hesitant to throw this with glasses on the table. Who are the good catchers in the room? Okay, fantastic. Now, if I was a fast bowler, which we don't need to worry about, would there be any empathy in my throw? No. You're like, what has empathy got to do with it? But if I'm to check with you, can I throw this ball to you? See, I know that sometimes we don't catch the ball. So somebody could be a bit nervous about catching it, but I'm going to throw. And Gotham did a great job because my throw was not so great. So I need a little empathy from my throwing. So what happens when we start a conversation with a stranger? Thank you. When we start a conversation with a stranger, it's like just offering something. It's just a little hello. And you know why we don't? So many people don't talk to strangers because they think, but he might not catch it. He might not respond. But what happens if we drop the ball? Like that moment, thank you. What happens if we drop the ball? We just pick it up again. So many times we fear rejection. We fear that we're going to drop the ball. But what if we just have a play? And sometimes I've said to people, excuse me, this might be awkward. Now, what happens if you tell somebody that you feel awkward? They want to rescue you because they don't want you to feel awkward because then everyone feels awkward. So it's like, no, it's okay, tell me. And also, it's just like, it's that awareness. What's going on in here? I'm feeling awkward. If we just say it, we can let it go. But if we're trying to look impressive, okay, I won't say anything out of line, then we get all nervous. But if we are ready to play and maybe drop the ball and maybe catch it, may I throw again? No, you know what? Thank you. He was so ready, but there were hands waiting down the back. So let's just see how I go. Thank you. I knew you would get it. Okay. But I've been thinking, it's okay, I'll get it later. I've been thinking, as I've been travelling around these 8 brand new countries, empathy is the most important connector. And maybe in a room like this, it's those of you who have been in business for a long time who think, maybe it's a bit hard for the young people these days. Maybe I could just offer some support. I love that you've got these focus groups. The conversations, the connections that are going to happen in those rooms and as a result is incredibly powerful. So I just wanted to raise that just to remind us of empathy and share with you a little story that I'm grateful for. So it goes back to 1942, before our time. There was a dance. In the beginning of World War II, the young people of Sydney decided that they would hold dances to keep some sense of normalcy. It would be good for morale. So when the soldiers were in town, there was a dance, and the young women from the city would come. Now, the culture of the day is that if a gentleman asked you to dance, then you would say yes. So just imagine roles are reversed. Can I have this dance? Sure. Thank you. It's all right. You may sit for now, but you can, later. There's no music right now. Thank you. So, now also, now everyone's thinking about dancing. So, you would say yes, thank you, and you'd have the dance. Unfortunately, another culture at play was racism. And so, there was an African American soldier there at the dance. And he asked all the women to dance, and they refused him. But one girl, Violet, she said, I was disgusted with them, so I stood up and danced with him. So they had their dance, and then he left the hall, and all the Aussie soldiers clapped and cheered. They were so proud of this girl. There was one particular soldier there whose name was Garnet, and he noticed that Violet had a different attitude to the other girls there. Now, 70 years later, I was reading the article that I'd published in a magazine telling this story. And Garnet said, and if she hadn't danced with him again, I wouldn't have either. And I realised in that moment, her decision to connect with somebody that no one else would connect with was the reason that they were married for over 70 years, that they had 3 children, 18 grandchildren, many of whom are doctors and teachers, and one right here in Dubai tonight. So in that moment, I realised I exist because of someone talking to a stranger. I exist because of my grandma's brave attitude and inclusive attitude. And so this is her little bell that travels around the world with me. And I'm so grateful for her and for my grandparents, all my grandparents, who lived into their late 90s, married 71 and 67 years each, and my parents who've taught me to connect, to welcome people. And until this very recent trip, I've been the welcomer. Come to Dubbo, come and do a tour of the zoo, come and have coffee with me, let me answer your questions. I'll meet people on the trains in Sydney and say, do you need any help with the maps? It's confusing going to a new city, isn't it? But I've been going around Germany and other countries completely bamboozled by the train station options. And it's the kindness of strangers that have helped me along the way. It's these little moments that I'm grateful for, and it's these little moments that create all kinds of possibilities. So just like my grandmother's decision created a world of possibilities for my family, including my son, who's now graduating from the Air Force next week. What possibilities will your connecting create? So I hope that as you go from tonight, you'll consider how you connect with people. Do you take a moment to listen, to ask them questions, to share gratitude? And this didn't work very well, but there's the wedding day. So I want to express my gratitude to Gotham, to the team here, and all of you who've made me so welcome from the time I set foot in this hotel. And I will be around later for questions, but you have got time to dine together, but I want to encourage you to talk to strangers. There are strangers in the room, are there not? Yes, but it's so easy to talk to people that we already know. So go find somebody new tonight and have a fantastic night. And I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Thank you.
So give it up for Kairi for a wonderful new thought that she has given us today. To connect with confidence, be aware, don't be scared of throwing the ball. Yes, sure. May I request our chairman, Mr. Suresh Kumar and Mr. Nimesh Makwana, President, please come on stage to give Kairi a small memento on behalf of the members of IBPC. Yeah, sure. We'll keep this.
Thank you, Kerry.
Thank you, Kiri, for taking time off and to talk to our members.
1 minute because I have forgotten one person.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Shall I?
Yeah, please.
I forgot, and I apologize, but Mr. Sam Manipadam is also a member of the AAA group, and I would like to felicitate him. Sam? I hope it is a pleasant surprise. DP World is the largest Dubai-based organization in terms of investments into India, and we want more of that. Thank you very much.
May I request Mr. Suresh Kumar and Nimesh to please come on stage again because we have to recognize the new members who have joined us. So before we conclude, yeah. I have a list of members who had confirmed to the IBPC office earlier. So I will call the names if they are present here, please come up. And if there are any names that I miss out, please feel free to join and let me know, and we'll recognize you as well. Mr. Ranjit Sinha is the Executive Vice President of Oman Insurance. Welcome to IBPC, sir. Mr. Kamal Kant, Vice President of Mr. Manjeet Singh Chabra. No. Mr. Nikhil Sancheti. Nikhil is Director with Ardent Advisory and Accounting. Welcome, Nikhil. Mr. Vinay Kamal Surana is not here. Mr. Nazir Awal, no. Mr. Jayanta Mukherjee, Mr. Jitendra Ganesh Lal Bhatia Udeshi, yes sir. He is Managing Director with Range Developments. Mr. Abhishek Jalan, not here. Indu Rupa Varanasi, Miss Indu Rupa Varanasi, yes. She is Director with IR Design FZ LLC. Mr. Prashant Sharma, AVP International Business, Omkar Realtors and Developers Private Limited. I missed, sorry. He's AVP with the Flex Middle East FZD, I'm sorry. Mr. Umesh Jandial, yes. He is AVP International Business with Omkar Realtors and Developers Private Limited. Ms. Anita Yadav, no. Mr. Chetan Sethi, yes. Mr. Chetan Sethi is Executive Director with hotelconfirm.com. Mr. Rajiv Buddhiraja, he's the CEO of Promo 7360. Mr. Hardik Manish Thakkar. Yeah, he's taken. Fine. Any other member whose name we have missed out? A new member who has joined recently with IBPC. Please. Can you please join us on stage, please? Mr. Pradeep Kumar. Mr. Hitesh. Hitesh Bandari, welcome. Thank you, Nimesh. Yeah, done. So that concludes the evening session for the day, and thank you once again for being with us, and thanks once again to Kiri for talking to us today, and above all to Mr. Gautam Gaglani for arranging this session. Thank you very much, sir. Now dinner is served. I look forward to network and meet with strangers. Thank you.